everyone, welcome to the Joy of Dwarven Painting. I'm Erin, the lead painter at DF. Today I'm going to teach you how to paint the Dungeon of Doom. The paint scheme for the Dungeon of Doom pieces is pretty easy. It's comprised of 2 to 3 steps, depending if you have pillars or not. For this painting tutorial, you're going to want to use Picorni paints, Earthstone, Deep Lava, Black, Stone Edge Dry Brush, and School Bus. So for the first step, you're going to want to paint the brown accent stones on your dungeon pieces. And for that, we're going to want to use Picorni paints Earthstone and a really fine detail brush. To begin with this step, you're going to want to take your brush and dip it lightly in the paint and dab the excess off so that you have just the right amount of paint on your brush. Or else it'll look thick and tacky and you'll lose the texture of the piece. To paint the access stones, you're going to want to pick out the favorite stones. The ones that say, hey, I get you and I want to be your friend. Sometimes it's cool to cluster the stones, but for the most part, just keep them random and separate. Make sure to pay attention to the sides of the walls, because if you paint a brick on the edge of the back of a piece, let's say, you're going to want to carry that same color over and paint the rest of the brick on the side. Make sure that you allow the paint to dry before moving on to the next step. And the great thing about Picorni paints is, since it's acrylic based, it should only take 30 seconds to dry. And now let's add some pizzazz to our pillars. To paint your pillars on your pieces, you're going to want to start with the midsection of the pillar. For this, we're going to be using Deep Lava by Picorni Paints. To apply the red to the pillars, you'll want to use the same size brush that you used for the bricks. The next step in painting the pillars is to paint the arch and tops and bottoms of the pillars. For this, you'll be using the same size brush and Picorni Paints Black. This Picorni Paint Black is the same color as Momo, our hellhound. Hashtag Momo for president. Allow each individual color to dry before moving on to the next step in the pillar painting process. And now for dry brushing. It's anything but dry. It's actually my favorite part because it's dry. For this step, we're going to be using Picorni Paint Stone Edge Dry Brush. You then take your big fluffy brush and you dry off the excess on a paper towel until most of the paint is off of your brush. With a feather light touch, you lightly, in an upwards and downwards motion, run your brush against the texture of the piece. Dry brushing is great because it really brings out the texture and adds highlights to your pieces. You want to concentrate with this step, dry brushing most heavily on the bricks and the stones of these pieces, and avoiding the arches and the pillars. We recommend that you do that last with an even lighter touch. Your brush can get easily clogged if you're dry brushing a lot of pieces. So when you notice the bristles clumping together and when you're applying it to the piece, it's getting kind of messy, make sure to take washing breaks to be able to wash your brush and then dry it off and start again. Using the Stone Edge Dry Brush color is the closest we feel that you can get to the factory version, but it is on the cooler side. If you're trying to match the factory's dry brush color exactly, we recommend that you add a few drops of School Bus to your Stone Edge. This will make the dry brush color match the factory versions much better. School Bus was inspired by actual school buses. And that's it, it's that easy. Thanks for tuning in. This concludes this episode of The Joy of Dwarven Painting. See you next time. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Today's episode is brought to you by Pillar Furnishings. Are you tired of your boring old dungeons? Well, why don't you spice it up with some red pillars? Bring some new life, or death, into your dungeons today.